Platchums! Nate, this is from Barad1139, by the way. Nate, I have a question for you. Oh, nice. Are you able to ask Dan how he deals with burnout? It's not really. It's more of a request than a question, but he plays a lot of long, difficult games and manages to charge through them. Does he ever feel a lack of drive or a need for time off? Well, Dan, there's a deeply personal question for you. So, do you feel? Do you suffer? Do you suffer from burnout, Dan?
Well, I think I can point, to the ongoing saga of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, as a potential burnout moment. Yeah, look, I, like yourself, love games and have been playing games since I was
Yeah. No, I only do this. I only do this because I hate myself.
So like, if I'm not getting trophies, I'm playing another game. I'm playing somewhere else. I'm playing a game on my phone, or I'm playing a game on my PC, or whatever. So if I start a game and it clicks with me, I don't have much of an issue powering through it. Now, sometimes if I struggle to get through a game, usually that's probably a sign that I'm not loving the game. So if things line up, I rarely, get burnt out. It's only when I have to kind of force myself through it. And I think that that's kind of like the antithesis of why I game, when I get into a situation like that. I think a lot of us are the same, that when we have to force ourselves, when a game feels like a chore, that's when the burnout stuff happens. I, I guess I'm a little bit kind of erratic in when I play. If I play, I usually play, like, say, go for trophies. I usually play a lot, and I spend a lot of time doing that. And like a lot of things, I like gamification, which is why the trophy system works for me as well. So, I am driven by the plat too a lot of the time. So I like to kind of check it off and power through and stuff. So, yeah, it's a pretty basic answer, I suppose. Try to stick with games that you enjoy, and then you usually won't get burnt out. And if you feel like you're getting burnt out, I would maybe reassess what games you're focusing on and try and play something that you're going to enjoy a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, like I feel like, I love the gamification as well, and I always love just seeing, like, the 100% completion and stuff in my games. And so it was always going to be a match made in heaven for me with the trophy system. But I feel like I would say I've had a burnout, but for me, as opposed to define as a burnout, it would be more a case of I just didn't fancy playing games.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you kind of define as like a burnout, it's like, well, what is the motivation that is driving you to play the game? And if you're in a position where you're kind of forcibly playing something that is making you miserable, for a reason that might be making you more miserable just to get the trophy, because then, like, look, I know for some weird reason there's a lot of negativity around trophy hunting in the community. It's always kind of like, this platinum took my soul, this platinum caused me, like, irreparable damage to my marriage, or whatever the hell the titles are. Ultimately, I'm still incredibly positive about it. I think it adds a lot to gaming, and the challenge, and it's like just an inherent thing, like, since the arcades, who can, like, get the furthest in the machine, and you get your name up in the titles, like, it's tied in with that. So it should be a fun little added incentive and addition to a game. So I just feel like, you can get kind of lost in that sometimes, and it does deter away from why you actually play games. So I feel like, in short, like, if you're feeling like a burnout, you have to ask yourself, okay, why am I pushing through here? Like, my advice would be just simple. It's like, just do something else. As you said, maybe just think, okay, look, I'm actually not enjoying this game. Step away from it for a while. Like, if it is a genuine feeling, where you're unhappy or it's causing you stress, for God's sake, man, just put the game down. Like it's okay, listen to some music, do whatever. And again, that is such a basic answer, but I think sometimes these things can get so overblown that people forget it is that simple. Just
Yeah,
just play something else, change it up, play something drastically new, check out some indie games to maybe give you, a new lease of life, something creative and fresh in the gaming sphere. Um, and just remember that like it only matters as much as the meaning you put into it. If you kind of just like for me, with the Platchums, like it's like an individual swirl that I like awesome. I love seeing it, but much like the Evil Within, at a certain point, I don't think it's a bad game, but
mm,
it got to that point where like the the hassle of getting the platinum outweighed the benefit or the enjoyment of the game,
yeah,
and that's why I decided not to go for it. So, yeah, like that would be my advice. And I do think like the long games, like when I stopped playing, it was on the back of quite a few long games. I think it was like last year, maybe the year before. Like
yeah,
I had like a 5 6 month gap or something, and it was literally just because I was coming off the back of um like I think I was doing some grinding in Killzone Mercenary on the Vita.
mm,
um I had and I think I just ran out of games that I was interested in playing as well. um so like that happens, like that just happens. It's impossible to keep going. It does ebb and flow, you
yeah.
know so I would, don't be too hard on yourself, man.
No, and I'd add to that by saying sometimes when you do put a game down and you walk away from it, you can come back with a fresh pair of eyes and be like, oh, actually, yeah, I feel like playing this game again. It'll just click with you one day. You'll
But
see it and you'll be
doesn't
like,
that happen so much where it's
so
like there's a
much. Yeah.
section where I think Vanquish was a lot memorable one for me, where it's I'm like, I'll never be able to do this, and I'm like, oh, and then like I stopped playing for 2 weeks, came back, got it first time.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what I had to do was formulating and marinating in my mind during those 2 weeks. So when I
Yes.
came
Yeah.
back at it, it was like it had committed to like medium to long term memory, and I'm like, oh wait, I got this. There must be some kind
Yeah.
of physiological. This isn't Doctor Drums, I get it, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
so
you're completely right. Definitely. And the allure of a game of like finishing a game and cleaning it up. Sometimes you'll be in the mode of like, oh, I want to get my completion percentage up, or whatever. I
mhm.
want to get my average rarity up, or I just want to get rid of some of this backlog, and then you'll just be inspired to play a game. And I think that's maybe a healthier way to look at it rather than forcing yourself through. At least that's what I'm telling myself, why it's okay to stop playing Final Fantasy VII at the minute,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
start
yeah,
up
yeah,
other games and keep starting new games because I'm
yeah.
too scared to go back to Final Fantasy VII.
But
So
that's the thing with these single player games, like you can always go back to them.
yeah,
Maybe
some
that's why the Evil Within is so easy for me just to kind of put to bed, because it's like maybe part of me is like, well, if I ever feel like going back to it, it's there.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
it's a good point. Yeah, the only thing is some games don't lend themselves to that, I suppose. Like there's some games where you start back up and you're like, I am literally 100% lost. I have no idea what's going on here, so I have to start again. Um,
Skyrim syndrome. Yeah.
yeah, and like you know, I get that a lot with RPGs. Uh, Definitely any of the Souls games. If you're kind of going halfway, you're kind of like, it's hard to orient yourself. So
Yeah, yeah,
it nearly makes more sense. You'll be quicker if you just start from fresh and just go the whole way through again. But
yeah,
um, yeah, with trophies, it's not always like that because you might have already
yeah.
finished the game. It's just like you have to do one extra thing or something.
Yeah, one extra playthrough or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
hope that helps. Barad 1139,
yeah.
and let us know how you're doing, if you've gotten over the burnout, or if it was
Yeah,
actually just genuine curiosity about he might not be burnt out at all. He might just be in awe of you playing and tearing through so many long games.
but
I don't know why
we
you
also
assumed maybe.
we also have to like dispel the narrative that that I guess in this case, yeah, I'm playing more games than you at the minute or over the last few years, just because logistically that makes more sense for me than it does for you. But like when we were in college, we were always like 100% neck and neck. I think you usually had a few, like kind of a 5 plat lead on me or
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
usually. So, it's just circumstances really, we play as much as we can. And
Hmm.
sometimes we can play more, sometimes we can play less. Depends where, what's going on externally. But yeah, Nate, I would always have considered you, above me in skill level.
Oh, I don't know.
No,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like you've a broader range of skills, but I feel like there's certain weird niche games like FIFA, so niche.
I'm so bad at FIFA. Oh my God.
Like this indie market, this indie game called FIFA, or like, yeah, like I think I can hold
Anything that
my own.
requires coordination.
It's the drumming, man. It just helps,
Yeah.
I see the game like through polyrhythms.
Yeah.
I'm passing in triplets, like, but well, I appreciate that. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think much like chess, I can maybe give you a bloody nose, but within like a few minutes, you'd be just beat me, you know. But thanks for the question, Brett, and yes, thank you for to us.
Thank you to
You're
both of us.
welcome. You're welcome.
Platchums